Hello. I'm the hotel manager and this gentleman is my partner. We'd like to welcome you. You're one of the lucky ones. You have one of our superior rooms, which means you have a view. Did you read the leaflet?
Yes, I did.
Very good. Now, the fact that you'll turn into an animal if you fail to fall in love with someone during your stay here is not something that should upset you or get you down. Just think, as an animal, you'll have a second chance to find a companion. But even then, you must be careful. You need to choose a companion that is a similar type of animal to you. A wolf and a penguin could never live together, nor could a camel and a hippopotamus. That would be absurd. Think about it. I understand this discussion is a little unpleasant for you, but it is my duty to prepare you psychologically for all possible outcomes. Now, have you thought of what animal you'd like to be if you end up alone?
Yes, a lobster.
Why a lobster?
Because lobsters live for over 100 years. Are blue-blooded, like aristocrats. And stay fertile all their lives. I also like the sea. Very much. I water ski and swim quite well since I was a teenager.
I must congratulate you. The first thing most people think of is a dog, which is why the world is full of dogs. Very few people choose an unusual animal, which is why they are endangered. A lobster is an excellent choice.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I am joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good.
I'm all right. I got a story for you guys.
Oh, do you?
I do, yeah. It was a, obviously our days off.
Yes.
Our only, well, yeah, not for you. It's crazy that's a thing. Anyways, was my day off. I decided to do a really deep clean with Lisa. And I was cleaning the shower, and I don't know what I was thinking, dude. I had a product that was called Lime Away or whatever, and then I had another product from, this is like a bleach-based product. And I swear to you, I had both of them Johns in my hand going, okay, so I got in the shower. I was like, okay, I'm going to scrub it, and then might as well just take a shower and clean off all the walls as I'm there. And I was scrubbing, and my eyes were burning, and I was getting all lightheaded. I was like, what the frick is happening right now, dude? Come to find out, I made not mustard gas. I made chlorine gas.
Wow.
On the bottle, it says, do not mix with bleach.
Oh, shoot.
And I had two of them. I had those things akimbo just going,
Bruh, you're trying to kill yourself.
so my eyes were burning and my head was I was like lightheaded, getting kind of queasy. And I got out of the shower. I got all dried up, got all dressed, and I was like, man, I smell bleach right now. I feel like crap right now. I don't know what's happening.
Almost passed out in the shower.
I'm not kidding you.
Not knowing.
And it was burning so bad.
That's wild.
Yeah. So if I pass out, if I like slur my words, if I make any mistake tonight, blame it on the chlorine
Some holes
gas.
in my brain.
I didn't know at first that I did that. We were in talk about getting food, and I was like, I just searched it. I said, what happens when you mix Lime Away and bleach? And the first thing was chlorine gas. I was like, holy crap.
That's wild.
And Lisa was like, well, were you spraying them together? I was like, yeah. I was going, I thought I was being extra efficient.
That's wild.
That's funny.
Yeah, so
At
I'm
least
feeling.
you know how to make chlorine gas now.
True.
If you ever
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling just a little all right.
That's funny.
How are you?
I'm good. I had the day off as well, which was nice. So got to use it just hanging out, going to the barber, going to the gym, and watching the movie that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Man,
So,
look at you.
What a movie that is.
Yeah, this fool had to labor on Labor Day. What kind of world do we live in?
Not a good one right now.
The Union, man.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they actually let that happen. If you're part of the union, because this is like a union holiday. This is
Yeah.
a union-made holiday.
I figured it'd be like You know, we've been working too much. Get another day off.
Yeah, bruh. What's up, union?
Yeah.
It's a union holiday.
You're not
union
paying-
workers are working.
Yeah, you're not paying dues for nothing, right?
Yeah. Seriously.
Tell me about it.
Got a case on your hands.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but I was excited to revisit this movie that we're going to be talking about today because my first exposure with the film, I just watched it on a whim randomly. I think this year, actually. I had saw that it had been on HBO Max for a while, and I had an old friend that had mentioned it to me. And he had mentioned that I should check it out and that, you know, he thought it was a really good take on not only just sci-fi in general, but also like rom-coms. Like this, I guess you can kind of consider this a rom-com.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that kind of interested me, so I went and checked out the trailer for the film and was kind of like, okay, this looks a little like strange, but I'm excited for it. I'll be down to watch it, and I love Colin Farrell. I'm excited to see anything that he's ever in, and I ended up watching it because of that, based on that recommendation, and really enjoying it and having a fun time with it. And because of that, I mentioned it to you, and here we are.
Dude, the whole time you had told me, I was like, gosh, that sounds so interesting. And I had watched just the first, 5 minutes of it, like all the way up until he gets there and is given his preferences. That's where I stopped.
Okay.
And just that first little bit, I was captivated. I was like, why is this happening? What is happening? And how is this going to play on?
Yeah.
And it's a dystopian future that I think is interesting.
Yeah.
And one I don't think I'd want to live in.
Oh, me either. Definitely.
You don't think so?
No, I would hate it. I would absolutely hate
There's
it.
no group I want to be a part of.
No.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, like
Yeah.
all groups suck.
Yeah. And this is one of those films where you watch it and you're kind of like, man, I really do appreciate like the individuality that I have like
Yeah.
as a person and that I can exercise
Yep.
in the state that we live in. You know, I'm happy that I don't have to live in a world where I'm like forced to be coupled up, and I'm also forced to like base my relationship off of like one common interest that we have.
Yeah, no matter how flimsy.
Yeah.
A
honestly.
limp.
You know, so yeah, I had fun with this one, and I'm excited to talk about with you
Yeah.
guys.
I did. Was this your first
This
watch?
is my first watch, and it was a crazy watch.
Yeah,
I have so many bruh moments. There's just so many things that happen in this movie that just are like, what the heck is happening?
yeah,
And it's a good watch. It's a good watch
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah,
So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm glad I chose it.
yeah. Well, let's talk about the film. What movie are we talking about today?
We are talking about the 2015 movie The Lobster. It was directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, and it was written by him as well as Efthimis Filippou.
Yeah, I think that's how you say his name.
I'm not sure.
When I went on IMDb and was getting credits, I saw that guy's name and I was like,
Efthimis.
how do you say that? And then I pronounced it Efthimis Filippou.
That
I
is
think
a
that's-
sick name.
I think that's how you say it.
Tell
That
me that
sounds-
is not
It sounds Greek.
like Efthimis.
Yeah,
I feel like I gotta have a long beard and
Yeah.
just look beefy.
yeah, that
Beefy.
sounds very Greek. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who also did movies I think like The Killing of a Sacred Deer,
Yeah.
and a couple other ones. And he's coming out with a new movie this year called Poor Things.
Emma Stone.
That's getting a lot of hype right now around the film festival circuit, and I'm intrigued by what that one's gonna have as well, because it's got Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo. I think his name's Rami Youssef. He has a show on Hulu and did the directing for The Bear, the episode where they're in Denmark.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he directed that whole episode.
Rami
and
Youssef.
Yeah, I
This
think
guy
that's his last name, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I apologize. But yeah, he's in it as well, and I'm really curious to experience that movie this year.
Yeah,
as
if it's as unique and as interesting as The Lobster, then I'm more than willing to partake.
Yeah. So with that being said, what is The Lobster about?
The Lobster really is, like we were saying, a dystopian future where being a couple is enforced,
Yes.
literally enforced. You have to become a couple, and if you do not, you have to become an animal. You
Yeah.
have 45 days in this hotel setting to find a partner to become, I guess, married?
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
get married.
Get married. And if you do not, you can become an animal of your choice. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything.
Mhm.
It could be a dog, fish, whatever you want it to be. And we really just follow along David, who is kind of getting out of a long relationship and, continuing his search again. And it kind of follows along his path and a few other friends he finds along the way. And it takes a couple of turns, man.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because I don't know how. I won't get into any spoilers, but they have tasks they have to complete in
Yes.
order to gain more days at the hotel.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed just every aspect and every turn that the film takes, because it feels so, the world that we get brought into feels so well actualized.
It does.
And it feels so thought out, and it doesn't feel like at any moment where like you're watching things happen on screen and you feel like the writers are just like, and then this happens.
No.
It's like, no, this happens because of this and because of this, and we're gonna really think these things out and make it fit.
Yeah, it's all like regimented out. Like
Yeah.
I can see the storyboard of it all.
Yeah.
Like if this decision is made, well, these are the outcomes, or
Yeah.
it can't be made because this outcome over here, and all
Yeah.
these rules kind of fall into the umbrella of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's also like, just diving a little bit into the theme a little bit. I think it's really ironic that, it's all about finding love and finding your person, but in the most like scientific, the most clinical, the most sterile way possible, it feels like.
Yeah.
We'll dive into some of our bro moments that emphasize that. But whenever I think of love, I think of like spontaneity. I think of like off the cuff things, or like planning dates, sharing
Yeah.
more about yourself. This is really about shedding yourself and
Yeah.
becoming part of everyone else.
Yeah, it's taking that, whenever you get married, and a lot of people's vows usually include that the two become one, right? It's taking that and like corporatizing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's literally being like, okay, you guys are now an item. You have no individuality. You act as a couple, and the things that made you great as people before then are no longer a thing. You guys now identify as husband and wife.
Yeah. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, just because of the way it's set up, it almost reminds me of kind of like a population control type thing. Don't you think?
A little bit,
Because
Yeah, 100% it kind of is, because if you're not paired up with someone, after 45 days, if you don't fulfill what needs to be fulfilled, you're an animal.
Yeah.
You're an animal.
You're in the wild.
And the way they set it up is not giving them any favors as well. I mean, they do some things, but they're also like I think about the guy who was like, did you know that a basketball weighs 46 grams?
Yeah.
But I don't blame him for talking about that, because everything else about him is stripped away.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just feels so sterile
it
to call
feels-
that love.
Yeah, and
you know?
superficial.
It
To be
does.
like, I'm having a family dinner, and we're talking about the weight differences between men's professional basketballs and women's professional basketballs.
I'm like, I would be bored to death.
Exactly.
But that's the world they live in, and that's kind of what we get introduced to.
Yeah.
I did want to ask a question about the world, if you can answer them, hopefully.
Do my best.
Did you give a spoiler warning?
No.
No, let's do that.
Yeah.
We've kind of been talking about
Yeah,
that.
so if you haven't seen this movie, check it out.
Streaming
It's-
on Max.
Yes, it's streaming on Max. It has been for quite some time, so go check it out before it leaves. And tune in back, if you care about the spoiler aspect of this or not, because we are going to get into spoilers as per usual. Pause it, come back. If you don't care about spoilers, continue listening. This is going to be a spoiler-heavy episode. So,
Gosh, I want to talk about the beginning. Can I talk about the beginning?
Yeah, if you want to just dive into our first favorite scene, because the beginning is mine.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about the beginning.
Okay, the intro.
The intro.
Intro's a bro moment.
It's a
for me.
bro moment,
It's-
but it also it grabs you in,
It
which
does.
is, which
Yeah.
is perfect for a movie, and that's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about is, why is she leaving him?
You're not
that
talking
scene-
about the actual intro? Homegirl driving?
Who is the homegirl, though? Is it just a random person?
I think it's a random person.
Okay. I was curious as to who that was, and it gives you no information.
Like when the title card pops up.
The lady
when
is
homegirl is driving and she
Mhm.
pulls up to that donkey and just blasts
That's
it.
wild.
I
That's
love- I
wild.
love it.
That's the intro.
That's the intro. Yeah.
Yeah. I put that in a bro moment just because it's
No, yeah, it's a bro moment.
it really does, like you had said, pulls you in and
Yeah.
it just immediately is like, what the hell is going on? But for me on a rewatch,
Yeah.
I watch it and I'm like, oh, this person is going to who she thinks is like probably her ex lover or something like that, and is going up to them and is
Yeah, takes him out.
and takes him out, hoping that that's probably him because there was like 3 donkeys right there, you know?
Yeah, you didn't think of that?
No, it just hits me because, yeah, holy cow, every animal's a person.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so like that's why whenever you see camels in the background in the woods
You're
and
like,
flamingos
bro.
and
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Ponies
see.
Yeah.
I understand that. Like that made me laugh. Anytime dude, there's one when you see a peacock in the middle. It's just
He's sleeping.
Yeah.
And you
it's
see
so funny. It's so random.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, obviously, I'm dumb and don't think sometimes. So it's just, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
And not even that, the camera work here is great too. Like
Yeah.
I loved seeing the camera inside the car with it rain
Wipers
and
and
then you
going,
just see
And it clears it up.
and it clears it up like just for brief moments.
Yeah.
It's
I-
nice.
Yeah, it is done everything it can to keep me engaged
Yeah. Same.
and ask
Well,
me
yes,
questions.
that is the beginning. I should have said that part because that beginning is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Your
But
question though was
My question is, right after that, we get introduced to David, and he's like packing his stuff. Correct?
She's telling him to leave.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to know a little bit about her because if she's single too, so shouldn't she technically go to the hotel as well?
I think she's
No.
actually found someone.
Yeah, it seems to me like she was cheating and was having an affair
Okay.
because
That's
he
what
asks
needed
the
answered.
question, does he wear glasses or contact lenses?
And she says glasses.
And she says glasses.
Yeah. So she
So
has someone.
I'm under the impression that she was having an affair and is now leaving David for another man, meaning that the person that she was leaving him for, now this guy who she was having the affair with, he's leaving somebody behind. So now she's going to go to
Dang.
the hotel,
Yeah.
and now she's leaving someone. So now David is going to the hotel.
Mhm.
And then the next thing I kind of wanted to see was, at what age do you go to the hotel?
Good
At what-
question.
That
At
is a
what
good
point-
question.
We don't see
Are-
Any younger people?
Yeah, no
yeah,
younger
at what
people.
point is it said, oh, you got to be married by this point, or you're going to go sent to the hotel?
My first thought would be just, I guess,
Like
it would be
25?
age of
Maybe.
consent
Yeah.
in wherever they're at,
Yeah.
or in that like universe.
world.
You
Maybe
think
it's
so?
18 or 21. I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
Or be like, if you're not coupled?
I would
By
think they would
18?
give you some time. Like
Maybe
like-
it's like this. Maybe it's like this is all headcanon stuff, but maybe it's like I want to think that you grow up as a normal person and then you're living in the regular city and you find someone you love like
Mhm.
naturally, and if that doesn't work out, then you get sent to the hotel.
Mm.
Like you have an opportunity to find love naturally. Maybe.
No, because that would feel so. Imagine how many people. Your first girlfriend boyfriend is not going to be your forever.
Yeah. Well, maybe
No, I mean, respectfully, not everybody's is
it's low. Yeah.
is low. So then that immediately your hotel's going to be packed.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. Cuz that makes it think, has David done this before?
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
Cuz is that how he found his 12-year-long relationship with his wife
Yeah.
before? I don't know.
Yeah.
None of these are answered. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I mean,
It-
it just
it-
made me think. It
Yeah,
just-
and it leads you down the rabbit hole. It
Yeah.
makes you just further question the movie, which
yeah, because then it makes you wonder again, how many women has he been with?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And
They don't he's not very
open.
well, maybe he kind of if you consider his actions when he gets to the hotel, it's all kind of new to him almost.
yeah,
So maybe it's his first time?
I would think so.
But if it's his first, then how does he get a wife?
So there must be some sort of
That's why I'm thinking they have one chance.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, then they'll go to the hotel.
possibly.
All headcanon.
That makes
I would
sense to
love
me.
to pick his brains about it, the director.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
That would be cool.
But but we get that's a big bro moment as well. You automatically are drawn to like he's getting kicked out of his house or whatever, this relationship,
Mhm.
and then he's just getting picked up
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
going to somewhere where we don't know.
yeah,
And it almost looks like a prison.
A little bit.
A little bit.
The fence around it.
Yeah,
Like,
and also in the sense too that like you have a required like uniform.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to keep your possessions. They
I
get
kinda
checked
like
in,
that, though.
you know, and all that stuff. And they provide you food, and there's certain bedtime hours and things like that. But
Yeah.
I kind of like that though, because then, relationship wise, if you're trying to find someone, you can't be like, oh, he dresses nicer than so and so. I get to choose him. Everybody has the same clothes. Everybody has the same.
Same dress,
Yeah.
same suit.
So that's
all
something
the
that I
same.
did like
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, and I enjoyed this intro, for lack of a better term, here as well. It's my first and only favorite scene for the film because a lot of this, a lot of the events that play out in the film are just all in the bro moment
Yeah.
category for me, which I'm sure is
Yeah.
synonymous with everybody else here. But yeah, the whole checking into the hotel scene is just great. I love that we immediately get a clear parameter for the dystopian world that we're
Mhm.
entering. And like we open up with David, who is his wife is now leaving him after 11 years and 1 month of marriage.
he says
I
around
think is what he
12.
says.
Yeah.
He says 12.
And he's checking into the hotel, and the lady is like, "How long was your last relationship?" And he goes, 12 years. And she goes, "Can you remember how like much exactly?" And he goes, says,
rounds
11 years and 1 month.
He rounded up, man.
Yeah. And then as he's doing, going in through the check-in process, she's asking him, what do you, what's your height, what's your weight, things like that. And then she's like, do you have what's your sexual preference?
Yeah.
And he's like, heterosexual. And then he kind of thinks a minute, and he's like, well, I did have a homosexual experience in college one time, so is there a bisexual option? And she's like, due to the lack of, people and previous experiences that we had in the hotel,
Said
we
no.
took that bisexual option away. So now there's only homosexual or heterosexual. Which one do you want to identify as here? And he's like, heterosexual, I guess. And so, he puts it down, and the way that the things get brought up in the film are like super dry and like deadpan humor, which I'm personally a big fan of. I think that type of humor is funny. And so whenever this whole thing gets brought up, it's done in like a very awkward way that I end up laughing at and loving. But then after that whole check-in scene happens here, he gets showed to his room, and there's like the tranquilizer gun on the wall.
Yeah, I was curious how that would play into it.
Yeah.
I was like this. Why is there a gun when you're trying to find someone? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Actually, yeah. We at that point we didn't know what they were there.
I thought maybe it was like a leisure activity that they do. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah. Now, I forgot to mention, too, that even before then, whenever he is checking in, the lady at the desk is telling him that if you don't find a mate within 45 days, you'll turn into an animal of your choosing.
And do you know which animal you'd like to be?
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that, dude. When explaining why.
Yeah. And then eventually he ends up saying, like, she says, like, who is this with you? And he brings a dog.
He just says Bob.
And he says, oh, this is Bob. This was my brother
I know.
before he got turned into an animal. So then, now he's like walking around with his brother, who ended up not finding a mate and got turned into a dog, and he brings him into the hotel with him alongside him, and then he gets shown to his room. He sees the tranquilizer gun and like the darts and like cologne that they give you for men and all of this stuff, and the four blue shirts, white shirts, gray trousers, a blazer, a tie, and like 2 pairs of shoes and all this stuff, and I think that's then whenever the hotel manager comes in and tells him essentially that, the tranquilizer gun and darts are going to be used to help capture loners for people who escape and don't want to participate in finding a mate or anything like that. We track them down, and then we get a little shot of like people like laid out on the concrete and people standing above them. And like you hear slowly in the background, like room 287, 2 loners, 2 days, or something like that. And then she ends up, the hotel manager ends up asking David the question of what animal would you like to be? And he immediately answers with a lobster. And she goes, interesting, why a lobster? And he says, well, a lobster can live over 100 years.
And always are fertile.
Yeah, they're always fertile. So, there'll never be a question as to if I'm not like infertile. They're blue-blooded, like aristocrats, you
Yeah.
know, and all of this stuff. And he gives this whole reason as to why he wants to be a lobster, and eventually ends it with like, I also like the sea, you know, quite a bit, so I wouldn't mind being in the sea. And she eventually says, "Oh, it's pretty interesting. Most people pick like dogs, or something of that matter. That's why we have so many dogs on the world here."
Mhm.
What would you choose?
I don't know. That's a hard question.
I'm choosing an eagle. I was thinking about that the whole time. I want to fly, and I also want to be the upper echelon, the higher apex of a bird. So I think you have all that freedom.
Yeah.
Do you think you have like? I mean, I think of the logistics of this. Like, if I'm a bird, do I know I'm a bird? Like, am I me and a bird, but limited by bird brain? You know,
I think so.
but I still know I'm a bird.
Mm-hmm.
That changes things a little bit.
Yeah, I would think that
I
would think that in the process you still have your same brain.
Nah, because
Like-
because
It
if
has
you
to
had
be
the same,
reduced.
if
My
you
brain's
had
too
the-
big.
if you had the same brain, you could just outsmart everybody.
I want to. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like
Because if you, as an eagle, have Nick's brain, you're smart.
I'm loving life.
You're smart as heck. You're gonna know everything. You're gonna know what to do.
Maybe you keep your memories, but your brain gets reduced to the size of the animal that you pick.
Right, like you have sentience, but you can only act in a form that your form allows.
Yeah.
So maybe you choose like a monkey or something, right? Like, oh, dude, I'm like a massive gorilla,
Yeah.
and you just be the freaking alpha of the group.
Yeah. That'd be fire.
I just want to be something that is not easily killable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Like maybe like a hippo.
Yeah, I get you.
I've never seen a hippo die before.
I'd be down to be a gorilla. Just sit around, beat on my chest, eat bananas, pick my butt. I
And
do
no
all that
one
stuff
cares.
already.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what?
And you
Pause
got
right
the facial
there.
hair you want so bad.
Pause right there, bro. He said he pushed his butt.
I'm just saying there are optimum choices and there are terrible choices.
yeah.
Like I imagine someone being like,
I want to be a chihuahua.
Yeah.
dude, or I want to be a ladybug.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
I'm
no.
go- guess what I'm doing?
Butterfly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. Same
I
thing
don't
in,
know.
in regards to like a lobster too. Like
Yeah.
that's straight up like the insects of the ocean.
Yeah, the
Nah,
crustacean.
that's like
Yeah.
shrimp.
Well, I would classify shrimp as crustacean too.
Yeah.
As well.
It's-
I hate,
said
people
that
always
weird.
compare shrimps to cockroaches.
Yeah, and crabs and lobsters are spiders and centipedes.
They're all nasty in my opinion.
Yeah.
I kind of think I want to be like a snake of some sort.
What about, in cod, we talk about cod, we've talked about him once before. I know exactly what he'd choose. Ready? Jellyfish. he has come up to me
That
several
makes
times and said, dude, jellyfishes live forever.
Yeah.
They live forever.
That makes
Kyle
sense.
said this?
Kyle, well, he had said, that kind of fact before.
That makes sense.
That's so funny.
That would be an optimum choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then, dude, I would want to be like the angler fish that nobody could ever find.
Just down
At
in
the
the
bottom
depths.
of the
Down in the
ocean.
dude, that'd be so cool.
I'll be Megalodon.
Yeah. Hey, there's no, is it like limited to based on what's here now or what's been before?
I don't know.
Because then I'm thinking T-Rex.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Triceratops, like,
Give
I'm
me
being
a
a-
pterodactyl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
that,
saying?
bro.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of questions here.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Definitely not choosing no
A
rabbit.
saber-toothed tiger?
Yeah.
Imagine how cool would that be?
Yeah, that's almost unkillable.
Yeah.
No, they're
True.
killable, but it'd just be cool to be one.
That'd be a good question. Write in if
Yeah.
you've got an optimum choice
Yeah.
or just
comment,
a
would you be?
comment on
sentimental.
the YouTube video what animal you would be.
Yeah.
Would you
I-
say sentimental?
Yes, I figured some people would be like, "Oh, my mom loved hummingbirds, so I want to be a
I'd want to be a
hummingbird."
hummingbird.
Yeah.
You know what I hear
Yeah.
to say about that?
I want to be a dove in the midst of dove season.
In the midst of those,
Oh no!
I wake up every morning and hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a perfect plug because if you're going to comment on the YouTube channel what animal you want to be, you better subscribe to the channel.
Might as well. You're there.
And like the videos. And hit the bell notification as well.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're staying plugged in. But going on there from
That sounds like an ad break, bro.
yeah, we're gonna take a quick moment to thank our sponsor.
Ourselves, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it for my favorite scene right there. If we got any other ones here.
My next one is their first hunt.
Okay. Like when they're going out on the bus with the butter biscuit lady.
Yes, yeah. No, well, the one
Lady.
before that, like the very first hunt.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh, I have one. We'll talk about yours. Honestly, I don't think it really matters in sequence if it comes up out of sequence or not. But go ahead.
With yours before, go ahead, take it.
I don't remember honestly. It was I really enjoyed. I forget his name, but it's the limper, the guy who limps. What's his name again? I forget honestly.
John?
I hate the
I
It
think
might be
it is,
John.
huh? It is.
I think it might be John.
They
They also just classify him as limping man.
limping man.
So
My favorite scene comes up when he goes up there, and it's almost like you're like giving your. It's almost like you're like saying why people would want to date me or why am I unique at all? You know,
My one good attribute.
right. My like why I'm special, and he talks about his story, which I just find incredibly like. I don't know, just deep and thought provoking, and I feel like it could be its own little short story if you were to do it visually. What he says, I think that could be sweet.
yeah.
He talks about how he gets his limp, and pretty much what happens is.
I thought it was a BS thing.
What do you mean, like a fake story?
Yeah.
I was thinking the limping man. I was thinking of that's got to be wrong. I just looked it up on Letterboxd and that's wrong.
What?
Oh no, it is John. I saw lisping man.
That's John C.
That's
Reilly.
John C. Riley. Robert is his name.
Oh, okay.
John is the limping man.
John's the living man. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because he is a liar.
He is a liar, but I thought how he was explaining how he got the limp, I thought that was a lie.
Oh, I don't know. It felt genuine to me.
Yeah.
He goes on to say like he had a great relationship with his mom,
I don't know.
but she didn't make it, and she turns into a wolf.
Yeah.
And he figured out that she got like taken to a zoo,
Mhm.
and he went every day and was watching her, but there was a bunch of them. He didn't know who it was, so he would feed them off of raw meat,
Yeah.
just hoping that one of them would be his mom. And one day he got really like sad and lonely, and he just wanted a hug, so he climbed into the exhibit and immediately got mauled.
And got attacked by
got attacked.
tons of wolves, and then there was only 2 of them that stood by and watched.
And he was like, I think one of
That's
those was
One
my
of them
mom.
was probably my mom.
That's so dumb. No.
I don't know. It just feels very like a naive thing for a kid to do, but
Yeah.
also like I just want my mom.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He literally said, I just wanted a hug, and I was like,
I feel like that could be a successful short story.
Yeah.
Or
it works for the girls start looking at him.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
It justifies his limp. That could be seen as, especially if you're looking for a partner, you'd want one that lasts forever, so you don't have to come back.
Yeah.
And a limp might put you off of that. But it just seemed genuine. Like if I heard that as a woman, I'd be like, he has a heart. Like, that's so wholesome, you know. And then he just is like, yeah, that's why I'm unique. He sits down, and then that other lady comes up. She's like,
I've been
They
told
say
I have a beautiful smile.
and she goes,
dude, that smile is not.
I love it.
it got me thinking of how I would introduce myself, and I have no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
got some skinny
Yeah,
legs.
it's almost like you'd said, like having a job interview in front of 200 people
Yeah.
and just being put on the spot and being like, sell yourself.
It seems a little weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just love that story. And I love just, he's one of our main characters.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very nice way to bring up, who he is, how he has a characteristic of the limp. He didn't
Yeah.
have to have it. It's kind of inconsequential for the whole story, but it really just, like deepens the narrative.
Yeah. And also just further grounds the characters as well, which
Yeah.
I really enjoy too.
I'm looking at the stills, so your scene was actually before mine, so I'm glad
Oh, okay.
it was. So actually, right after that, we get to they're having like a ball or some sort.
Yeah, there's a dance.
There's a dance.
I really
Those fools
enjoy
are
the dance
singing.
too. Yeah.
Dude, those
that
fools
dude doing the
singing.
opera singing
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah, it was funny.
It made me laugh. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to say real quick, I just love too how the music happens in real time. Like you can tell that like they're actually playing. The band is like for real playing their instruments and they're really performing.
Mhm.
Like, and the camera is capturing it all. It's not like backtracked or anything. And
I
like
didn't
while
notice that.
and while that's all going on, while they're all actually singing, you can also like hear them in the background while, you know, Robert and David and John are all together being like, "Are you guys gonna dance?
Yeah,
What? I don't know. I can't hear you." You know.
I love this part because they're like, "Do you know how to dance? Do you know what to dance? How to dance to this?"
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh just because they're so awkward.
Yeah. Seeing Robert get out there and going like,
Dude, it's so funny.
it is funny watching him dance for sure.
But literally right after they're dancing, it leads to the first time them hunting. And I was so confused because at this point, I still didn't know quite why they were hunting and who they were hunting.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere too because all of a sudden the dance ends with an alarm.
Yeah.
And like this alarm just starts going.
And leave in an orderly fashion, like kind of again like it sounds like prison.
Yeah.
And we get to see like everybody in the hotel in like a certain uniform. Everybody has that rifle that we finally seen, and they're on this bus going to the woods. And I was like, one, this is sick. I would love to do this. Like, this is like almost like COD, bro. And then, but I was so confused because
Welcome to the war zone.
I was so confused because you see these people running, and then you see the people from the hotel chasing them. But I was just like, why are they running? It doesn't explain it yet. And then I made sure to make a note, like ask who are they chasing. And then finally they answer us, and they're loners, people who didn't make it and didn't get a couple.
Yeah,
and
they abandoned the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just out there surviving.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you tranquilize a loner, you get an extra day, and you turn them into an animal, I believe, right?
I think so.
I think so. I want to say that's correct.
Yeah, I think they get turned into an animal.
Yeah, because they've passed the 45-day point.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no.
And it's like an animal that is unfavorable.
Yeah.
Like a weak animal, I think is what they classify them as.
Yeah.
And I just love the scene because this is something that I want to do, and we're finally getting some.
You want to hunt people?
Dude.
That's crazy, bro. Hey, and then this man hops
Jason,
on.
what's that fool's name?
Jason Bourne.
No, from American Psycho. When he goes to the homeless people, and he's just
Patrick
like,
Bateman.
yeah, Patrick Bateman. Where he's like, you motherfucker. That's kind of the same energy.
Sticking homeless people.
I wouldn't do that.
No, I know.
I would only. No, I'm not gonna.
I would only what?
Tranquilize them.
Dude, you're crazy. This guy gave me grief about picking my butt, and he's like, I want to kill people.
I was about to dig my hole deeper right now, too.
Do you have a very regimented skincare routine? Do you look at yourself in the mirror?
He goes in the shower and says, I wash my body with a Dove skincare soap that makes sure that I exfoliate my skin to the 13th degree.
Dude, you haven't seen that movie, huh?
It's been a while
American
since I've seen it.
Psycho.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
I do push-ups and curl-ups every morning. I make sure to do crunches to attain my top physique.
So strange.
Like, don't you think that'd be fun? Chasing people in the woods.
Morally, I object.
Moral. What if it was like with paintballs?
Okay, with paintballs, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, with paintballs, it's fun.
I'm thinking about it like that. Like, these people aren't dying. I mean, maybe
They are dying.
They're losing
they're
their
not.
humanity.
They're losing their humanity, but they're still alive.
Yeah, but they're like a rabbit in the woods that is the lowest on the totem pole.
Yeah.
They don't
So-
get turned into apex, the
Yeah.
predators, none.
But I liked it because it just made me like I wanted to be engaged.
He's going to turn into the heartless woman.
Yeah,
Where she's like,
seriously.
they come by and they're like, room 187. You caught four loners today. You previously
total.
had 54 days total. Now plus 4, you have 158.
She's gonna be there forever, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I even like to in that aspect too, where you recognize in that scene that the more loners you capture, the more days you get to stay in the hotel to try and find a potential mate.
Yeah.
And when it gets to David, because he didn't capture anybody, it says like, because you didn't capture anybody, your days stay the same. And then he wakes up the next morning and it's like 33 days remaining.
I
That
would
is-
hate that.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I love this universe. I love the
Yeah.
universe and how it's
It
built.
kind of reminded
So
me of
cool.
that movie In Time a little bit.
Yeah.
From like just in that aspect where you like time is a little bit of like a currency, and
Is
like
that the one where?
with Justin
yeah, you
Timberlake.
got the freaking numbers
got
right
the-
here.
Dude, I feel like I've seen that whole movie on TikTok.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, give me a coffee. I worked 112 hours.
Yeah. It's
Oh my god.
it's such a cool concept.
It is a cool concept.
And it kind of feels that way in this aspect where if you are like willing to put your morals aside and do the dirty work and all this stuff, then you can prolong your stay.
Yeah.
But again, is it going to compromise anything that you might believe in, or how badly do you really want to stay in order to find a potential mate?
Yeah. It really calls into question a lot of different like things about your
character.
your character really
Yeah.
like but it's almost a decision that's one-sided, really. It's like you could capture these people or you could literally just lose your days and die.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, is there a decision to be made,
Yeah.
really? And it's a genius way to get them to capture the loners while also like having to do it. You literally are almost forced in a way.
Yeah.
And it even comes up to when you like have to find your friends in the woods. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think of whenever Robert ends up finding
He's like,
David whenever he becomes a loner and
I
is like,
have to.
I'm sorry, I have to do it. I only have 3 days left.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like it's built for you to completely disregard your morality just so you can have more days.
Yeah.
It's a genius system
Mm-hmm.
if you want people to be stuck in it, but
Yeah.
could not
oh
imagine
my
that.
gosh.
Yeah. All right.
What
Any
are
other
we gonna
favorite
talk
scenes
about?
from there?
No, but I'm on Film Grab, and I can't believe they have one of the worst stills on here.
I
Oh,
can't
no.
even imagine.
Yeah.
The
I'm not-
dog.
Oh.
That's tough. That's a
Yeah.
bro moment. My
That is a
next
bro moment.
favorite scene though is when it's a little ways into the movie when we see that David fakes being in love with someone, gets caught, and runs, and he becomes one of the loners,
Mhm.
quote unquote. Excuse me. He goes into the woods and he finds like a pack of loners with, I don't know her name, but she's like the leader.
She just goes by Loner Leader.
Loner leader. Okay. And he's making his way there. He's finding his place. You know, he gets a whole new set of rules, which are basically the opposite of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And there's punishments to go along with that. And
Yeah. The Red Kiss.
The Red Kiss.
My
Yeah.
lord, that is.
What's the narration is like, I've only ever heard about the red intercourse.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like-
terrified.
And it's like, but if you know anything about the red kiss and what that potentially holds, I don't want to go through with what the red intercourse might
yeah,
be.
she's like, you can imagine.
Yeah.
you can imagine what those words mean.
Yeah.
And they go on. There's like this whole plot where they go to the city. They do like they kind of fake be relationships there, and you know he gains feelings for another loner, and has to navigate that situation. But my favorite scene starts when they are infiltrating the hotel.
Oh, okay.
I really like this because you see that there's an insider, which is one of the nurses, is working with the loner leader.
Yes.
Gives her a gun, gives her like shampoo and stuff, like all
Yeah.
these random things.
I think she gives her like a map of the building too.
Oh, does
if
she?
I'm not mistaken.
I think she gives them. Yeah, I think you're right. I think she gives them like a map of where the people who they think are faking mark.
Yeah.
Ooh, faking. Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Because why else are they going to
specific
boat?
people.
Mhm.
to the yacht? Because they're faking.
Yeah.
The people who are singing, I don't think they're compatible at all.
Mm.
They're faking it, in my opinion. The other people we don't really get to see.
Yeah, and I really like, because I figured these loners are wanting retribution. They want to come and kill
Mm.
and say, like, this system doesn't work. I'm going to kill, and we're going to, like, take out the main leaders,
Yeah.
the managers. And they do that, but in a subverted way.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it.
Me too. And you can keep going, but I really enjoy the way that like they test their relationship
Yeah.
and say like out of 15, how much do you love this person?
Yeah.
And he's like
oh.
a 14, and it's great. You can continue. but
Yeah, they all go into their individual places. David goes to John, which a scene prior we know that he's faking his relationship.
yeah. Straight up smashes his nose on the pool side,
Yeah,
and is like, "Oh, you get nosebleeds too."
so do I. And you see him just go.
You hear him. Yeah, you literally hear him when she's doing the breaststroke. And how awkward is that? Excuse me. That I thought he was gonna swim with her,
Oh,
No,
okay.
he just kind of watches her.
and he just watches her. And then as soon as she like gets more than halfway, that's when he like breaks his nose, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're faking it. And the loner leader goes into the manager's office. You would think that they're the most, compatible people. They're the managers of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for them. But they go in there, they pull the gun out, and they tie up the wife, and the guy's in bed. And they basically say, like, how much do you love her? All this stuff. They're testing them, and they're like, oh, 14, that's a pretty high number. That's really impressive. And he goes, and she hands him the gun, and she says, like, one of you is going to die.
Yeah.
Who could live the best alone?
Yeah.
And he says, oh, me, I'm in this room all alone. I can
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
So they give him the gun, and they say, prove it.
Kill your wife.
Kill her.
Yeah.
And almost without hesitation, he points it,
Dink.
clicks it. There's
Yeah.
no
No bullets in
Again,
the gun.
But that goes to say, like,
how that has got to destroy
That's
your
just-
relationship.
Yeah, it destroys a relationship immediately. And you see her, like, she's gagged. And so she starts going to, like, what? No. And then, like, right as he pulls the trigger, you hear her being like, are you...
all
and they
trust,
yeah.
all love, completely gone, and it
Then
was
you're
his
stuck in-
decision.
Yeah,
but you're
to
stuck
kill
in that
her.
relationship then.
Unless she
Because
finds
then
someone else,
She has all the rights.
Want to go to the hotel after how long do you think they've been together?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How long... I mean... You
What
can
if
you can
he-
say the
what
same,
if
you
he
can
goes-
apply the same argument to David's wife. What if the hotel manager finds somebody else, and now he has to go through the process after he sat there and managed it the whole time?
Yeah, it's a, and that would become a
The
question
husband
of.
could be like, I was trying to help you. Like, I was trying to help you. Like,
you could spin it anyway. It's like,
I did it because I love you.
yeah, like that's so stupid, like absolutely stupid. Like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I was trying to show you that I love you.
Yeah.
By ending your life early.
Yeah.
I just think it's so genuinely interesting to not like they are causing chaos. They are doing the damage they want to do, but they're giving the power to them.
Yeah.
They are they're saying, look, this is you're lying and you're going to prove it.
Yeah.
We're just giving you the means.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's so genius.
Yeah.
Especially when David goes to the yacht and he takes
Yeah.
those guys out, goes to the yacht, and you hear that bland conversation.
Yeah. Talking about the weight of different basketballs.
He's like, oh, you want to know about volleyballs? And you're
Yeah.
like, please, no.
Yeah.
And he goes in there and he's like, he puts the gun down and he just straight up lays it out.
Yeah.
I
and
have
he's
to
like,
tell you
he's like,
something.
I have to tell you something. He's lying. He doesn't get nosebleeds.
He's like, that on
You
his
guys
shirt
are
right there is
incompatible.
It's
probably
tomato ketchup. He says.
And then that little girl, Daddy, tell him to leave. I'm sleepy.
dude, and she gives her a knife.
Yeah. And she's like, kill him, mommy. It's crazy.
I want to talk about that too, though, because
That's a bro moment.
that's a big bro moment. Because the
That's
only way you can get a child is by having a problem that you cannot solve within yourselves.
Yeah. And that's.
And
I
that-
thought that was funny.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
'Cause,
yeah.
you know,
The
you
problem
always-
is they can't. It has to be the nosebleeds.
Well, yeah, they end up eventually having a problem because they have a child. But I thought that whole scene, that's one of my favorite quotes in the movie, where it's done in a way that's very comedic. But the hotel manager says, congratulations to the couple, and they said, the course of your relationship will be monitored closely by our staff and by me personally. If you encounter any problems, any tensions, any arguing that you can't resolve yourselves, you will be assigned children. That usually helps a lot. And usually, we know.
That might be foreshadowing for their relationship. Because she almost says it like from a point of, I know they help so much.
Yeah.
And if they were arguing like that,
Yeah.
almost,
They probably were assigned children at one point.
and, or like not compatible.
Yeah. But it's done in a way because in the real world that we live in, struggling couples usually always have this false idea that if we just have kids, then our problems will go away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever happen. It usually just makes the problems so much worse.
yeah.
Because now you have all these problems that you didn't deal with that you try to bury with the kid, and now you got a screaming baby on top of it.
Yeah.
That is going to amplify your problems tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that whole part was funny.
I don't know. I'm kind of lost now. Where were we at?
I was just talking about the infiltration.
The yacht scene.
Yeah, the hotel. I just love that entire scene.
Yeah.
Just just for the different take it went with.
Yeah.
Love
It was also a bro moment though because when they kick him out, he leaves that gun there.
He does.
Yes.
Doesn't need it.
And why not?
I'm not sure.
You're gonna go back out to the wild.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue.
Not sure. But yeah, that's a great scene as well. Any other favorite scenes here?
You cannot say the ending's a favorite scene. Don't tell me that.
I was just gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's bring it up.
The only reason I wanted to bring up the ending was just the ambiguity of it, and I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you guys, what do you think happened? Do you think he does it, or do you think he doesn't?
I think he
I'm
leaves.
conflicted on this.
Part of me wants to think that he
to
leaves.
I don't want him to leave.
I think he does.
leaves.
And the only reason that I think he does is just based off of his previous experience with people's relationships that were built on a lie.
Mm.
And while he did previously build his relationship with this
It's not a
woman based
lie.
on their short-sightedness, they've then like had this whole relationship with one another. So now they like are around one another more often. We see this whole relationship blossom, and it's great. The way
It's
that
so wholesome.
the way that
It feels
it
great.
blossoms, and I just don't know that if in the society that they live in, if you can only be a couple based on if you have a common interest, and if she is physically blind and he is not, then
What's
like
the common
what is the
interest?
common interest gonna
Yeah.
be?
Yeah.
So it
'cause-
only makes sense that he would have to be blind as well, in order
Does
to
he do it?
in order to continue
no,
the relationship.
I don't think he does.
I think
This
he
is really
sees-
like a litmus test for: are you an optimist or are you a pessimist?
yeah, seriously.
But
Are you a
it's-
romantic?
Yeah.
Or a something else? I don't know. What
Well,
else
it's
you would
like the
call it.
question that you would ask me: is how far would you go, or how'd you say it? What did you say? How'd you say it? How far would you go to like show that you love someone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I think this also calls into question the same thing like with Before Sunrise, where you're like, does he come back or doesn't he?
Mhm.
Does he come back to the same spot 6 years later, or does he do they forget about it?
Mhm.
And,
I think he
you
just
know,
becomes a lobster.
I don't know. I want.
Honestly,
I do want to believe that like he
I wanna
loves
believe it.
loves this woman so much that he is willing to stab himself in the eyes and make himself blind so that way they can be together. I mean, it even makes sense whenever he's telling her like he's trying to look at her one last time and he's like, "Let me see your elbows. Okay, let me see your smile. Let me." And she's like, "Do you want to see my belly?" And he's like, "No, I remember your belly.
I've seen it.
I've seen it enough. I don't need to see it again."
I don't think
You know?
he's. If he does it, he doesn't do it because he loves her. He does it because he's in the free world.
Yeah, or does it just based on, he doesn't want to go back to,
Yeah,
the hotel.
Yeah, 100%. That's the only reason why I would say
I don't
he
know.
does it.
And that's the thing
Hey,
about
that
this
hurts
world.
me.
That's the thing about this world is that you can never tell if a love is genuine
Yeah.
based on the world that they live in.
Yeah.
There's never really any true connection that we can see because it's all based off of compatibility,
Yeah.
not on if you truly love that person.
I hate that. My initial thought leaving the film is he doesn't do it, but he stays with her, and it's supposed to be a symbol of like breaking out of the system.
Mm.
That they are no longer going by the very oppressive, the very stripping of your individuality system that they're in.
Mhm.
He can be with sight, she can be without it. They can adapt and love each other, and their common interest is literally they love each other. Like that's enough for them, is that they love each other.
Yeah.
And that's my initial take is like, I wish he doesn't do it, but still stays with her and is genuine through it.
Yeah.
But it's really hard. I mean, that's like me being optimistic
Yeah.
because you see him in the woods. They're trying to find every which way to be compatible.
Mhm.
Do you like berries?
Yeah.
Do you know German?
Yeah.
Like he's going through all the things.
Yeah.
And he even like leaves her for a period of days
Mhm.
where like they do that touch, smell, grab,
Well, yeah,
win or
Yeah.
something.
she's not trying to give him some.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, because he asked for a kiss and then she says no. And then that's why they don't see each other for a couple days.
I mean, can you
Oh.
blame her? She was blinded. Like she was straight
Give
up.
me a smooch,
She
bruh.
was straight up deceived.
Well, and I think she might be also worried because
They're
look
gonna
at
get-
where
they-
their
they're gonna-
relationship got her. If
Mm-hmm.
they continue, red kiss, red
Yeah.
intercourse. I mean,
exactly.
like I can only imagine
Yeah.
the fear that she has. That's how I took her no. Was like, I'm afraid.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's blind too. She can't confirm for herself of whether or not someone's watching.
Right, and she
You
even
know?
thinks she kills the lady. And
Yeah.
Dude, she kills
ends
the
up
maid.
not,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ending
So you're
is
the
fantastic.
optimist?
I want to be, but in
I do
this,
too. I want to be, but I feel like the humanity gets the
I
best
wish
of
I got a
people and
soundboard
they-
right here and I can say, wrong. He dips, bruh.
Yeah.
that's the beauty of ambiguity.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. I enjoy it.
Look at
So,
movie.
if that's it for our favorite scenes, let's move into the best quote category. I already gave you one of mine, so let's hear some that you got.
I gotta look at them real quick.
I love the scene where they're starting to have like a relationship. Him and I forget her name in this. Let me check.
The short-sighted woman.
Yeah, that's all. That's
Yeah,
literally
she
her
doesn't
name.
have a name.
No,
It's
short-sighted
just
woman.
The short-sighted woman.
They're having their like a relationship, but they're trying to hide it. So they're creating this
The code.
the code.
I
And
love it.
I love that I love the extremes of it. They're like, put your hand behind, or it's like
It's like if I turn my cheek to the left, that means I love you more than anything in the whole world.
and he's like
And if I turn my cheek to the right, that means danger. There are like
we're gonna die,
Yeah,
run.
yeah.
He's like, they're like, it took us a little bit to really get the code down. I only imagine them being just terrified at doing the wrong code.
Yeah.
And then they even go like, put your hand behind your back if you want,
Like,
if you want to be
If you
together.
want to
Yeah.
have it.
yeah. Yeah.
Just I loved that the quote and how extreme it was.
Yeah. I even love too how like in later scenes when they're together, like they're like, 10, 15 feet apart, but like they're sitting here like squatting, standing up and down, turning around, covering their eyes and all this stuff and everything. And once you recognize like, oh, they have their own code, they're straight up speaking to one another, but we don't get to know what it is. And I thought it was so incredibly smart.
It
like
is.
the way that we get to be in on this conversation, but nobody
don't
else knows
know
what's
what to
going on.
say.
Everyone's looking around and being like, why is she standing and sitting 3 times? Like,
She's
like,
emoting, bruh.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, being like, this means I love you. Go to the Fortnite. This means I want to party.
They do the whole Orange Justice or whatever.
What's the original one?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Man, that would be
So
funny.
funny.
Communicating through Fortnite emotes.
Oh,
Good
See your
stuff.
dab, the dab, bruh.
Yeah. Another best quote for me comes from who we find out is the narrator, the short-sighted woman.
Yeah, loved it.
And I really enjoyed the this quote here from her. Whenever there's a moment when he's playing golf, because that's the only sport that he can play. Whenever you're not a couple,
It's
because it's an
golf and something
individual,
else.
it's an individualistic sport. So he's playing golf one day, and she says, one day as he was playing golf, he thought it is more difficult to pretend that you do have feelings when you don't than to pretend you don't have feelings when you do.
Mm.
And I just really enjoyed that quote, and also kind of seeing the character and how he struggles with how John is like building his relationship on a lie kind of makes me feel that David is just this genuine guy and like doesn't want to fake anything if he doesn't have to, and truly does want to love somebody,
Right.
but also at the end of the day doesn't want to turn into an animal,
Yeah.
Yeah, that even bleeds into a little bit of one of the more interesting quotes I had when we see that the biscuit lady jumps and falls to her, not death. I don't think it's her
It's
death.
just her heart. She
Yeah,
just gets
she's just
hurt.
going, ah!
Yeah. I was laughing at that scene too when she you see she cracked her head open, she's crying, but then you see
Blood.
Ritz crackers.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
you
see her crackers
She jumped
spread
with
out,
butter
bro.
biscuits out there too, so there's like butter biscuits spread out on the lawn
She
too,
got
and
the
she's like,
priorities.
"Ah!"
She's literally-
Dude,
she
it's
has
funny.
to die. But then the way that he goes, I hope she dies quick. Actually, I hope she dies a slow and painful death.
Yeah, because he's
That-
trying to
that's the
connect
quote I
with
had.
the heartless lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it calls into question your scene about faking it,
Yeah.
or quote, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, and the last one that I have here is again from the short-sighted woman. And this was something that throughout the film, like, you recognize that David can't do because he doesn't have a partner. And it's like he constantly has a pain in his back that he can't get to because he needs a partner to come and help him reach the parts of his back that he can't get.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's constantly mentioned that he has a pain in his back that he can't touch and all this stuff. And it's such a tender moment whenever the short-sighted woman and David end up becoming a couple, and they're doing it on the low, and they get the pain ointment for his back, and she asks him, "Do you want me to rub it on your back?" And he's like, "Yeah, please." They share this moment where she like ends up rubbing it on his back in the parts that he can't reach. And she says something to the effect of, back then, he didn't know how much it hurts to be alone, how much it hurts when you cannot reach to rub pain ointment on your back and you are constantly in pain. And like, I don't know, something about that quote was just like, that's kind of what like partnership is too. Like it's the things that you can't do, you can always like almost rely on your partner to help you in those aspects, and vice versa.
Bearing each other's burdens.
Yes. And it was something as simple as like just putting some ointment on your back. But the fact that she's able to do it for him and like fill this void that he's been struggling with for the past 45 days now just felt so wholesome.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
Any other quotes here?
No, I think we'll go ahead and move on.
All right. Well, this should be the brunt of the episode because now we're getting into bro moments.
Yeah, I think I got like 15 bro moments.
Yeah, I've got quite a few as
My
well.
goodness, let's hear him.
All right, my first one was shooting the donkey. Of course, that's one of the biggest first bro moments that we can get.
Sure.
But my next one that we haven't talked about is after he gets to the hotel, his first night, he has to get handcuffed.
Yeah,
and use only one hand.
Yeah, and they
So he
lock his
can-
belt up so he can't undo his belt.
Yeah.
and then they lock one hand behind him.
His dominant hand, it looked like.
Yeah.
And it's to remind him what it feels like to have two, to be
Yeah.
doubles. Again, I think that's a punishment to be like you're single.
Yeah.
If you were
Think about how helpful it is to have a partner.
Yeah. But also, it was a bro moment to see that he was able to get his pants off and sleep with his hand in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, another one for me was after that, the maid grinding on David.
Yeah.
That whole scene, I was just like, yo, what is going on, dude?
This place is freaky.
Yeah. And she
Yeah.
eventually like goes in the room and is like, hey, we need to do this. And David almost objects and is like, can we not? Like, I really don't. I don't want to do it today. We tried last time.
I hate it.
I hate it. It sucks. It's terrible.
I literally put, bro, getting blue balls.
Yeah. And eventually what happens is she's like, no, we have to do it. This is like part of the thing. So he ends up having to take his pants down, and the maid like grinds on him essentially.
Baby, grind on me.
Yeah. You could play that song while this is happening because that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And she's like grinding up on him, and
It's so awkward.
yeah,
dude.
eventually,
I hate it.
he's like
quiet.
It's so funny too. Like he's just like laying like lifeless on the bed, just staring at the ceiling.
It's so.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's weird and
Yeah.
awkward, but it's done with that intention. And eventually, he ends up getting aroused, and she's like, "Okay, you got aroused. It was faster than you did last time, so that's good." And he's like, because that's happened now, he's like, "Can you stay like for a couple minutes, please?"
It's like, nope.
She's like, "Nope, we gotta go now. We got other things to do." And he's like, "That's just awful. This is terrible. I hate this part." Like, and then we come to find out, which is another bro moment for me, that because homie, can't do anything about it afterwards.
Yeah, it's punishment.
It's punishment to
John C. Reilly's character.
Yeah, Robert ends up getting his hand put in a toaster for cranking his hog.
Yeah. That was wild too. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole scene is
No.
crazy. Yeah.
And he's in there for almost a whole cycle. It looked
Yeah.
like.
Oh, yeah, they're
it's
they're
tough.
toasting that.
They put it in there, and like he tries to object for a little bit too,
Like,
and he's just
no.
like, "Please, like, it won't happen again. It was only
mistake."
one time. It was a mistake." And they're like, "Who was it to?" And he's like, "It was to a picture of a naked girl on a horse in the country." And they're like, "Okay, that's enough. You know our rule about self-pleasure. You can't do it. Please put your hand in the toaster." And he's like, "No, please. I don't want to do it." And they're like, do it. It's gonna happen one way or another. So then they like eventually force his hand in there, and turned it on, and he starts out like going like, oh, 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 and just it keeps building and building and building until this guy's like shrieking in pain, trying to get it to stop. And then the entire time after, whenever we see his character, that man's hand is like wrapped up and bandaged.
Yeah.
And you always just see him with the little bandage around his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Another bro moment was when they're dancing at that dance, and the nosebleed girl gets blood on his shirt,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and she goes, "It happens all the time. I know this, and this."
This
Yeah.
method, dude.
Yeah,
She's like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, it
Well,
happens. Well, and that's the thing is it happens to her often
That she
enough
needs
to
to
where
know.
she knows exactly how you can get these stains out of shirts, and that you never use
Cold water.
cold water on blood, and you do this, you use these chemicals or whatever. And, it shows that that's like almost a big part of her life.
It made me laugh though, because it reminded me of the period blood scene from Superbad.
We're blood brothers.
I totally forgot about that movie. Man.
Blood brother.
Yeah, that's what he says.
I know, but it's so funny.
Yeah. Another bro moment for me I died laughing at was the Butter Biscuits girl sitting
On the
next to
bus?
Homeby on the bus.
Oh, that is just
No,
Dude.
no. I
And
was
she's
all-
like-
It's so like it's a
How's
very
Bob?
uncomfortable scene, but it's kind of I feel for her.
I feel for her because she's trying.
She's trying so hard to
trying
get a
to
connection.
get a connection. She wants it so bad.
She just does.
But
she wants it too.
well,
she-
I think she's like offering herself.
right. She's doing it under the guise of like, I will do anything to try and get a connection with somebody so I don't have to turn into an animal. And she is like being sexually explicit with this guy, saying, "Hey, I'll do this. I'll do this. My ex-husband liked when I did this, but eventually that, we ended up splitting apart from one another." And then her talking about like, if I don't get a partner soon,
I'm just gonna jump.
I'm just gonna kill myself. And like
I'm
she
sorry
says
to
that.
laugh.
Like she's like, if it doesn't happen soon, like I'm just gonna jump out the window and
But she says it
and
so
quick.
like not like she doesn't give a care.
yeah.
like kind of just nonchalantly says it, and then even the narration picks it up and it, like even says it more. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough out there.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah. Obviously another one. John faking the nosebleeds to get closer to the girl.
Mhm.
Yeah, I said, bro, the limp is trying to get the nosebleed girl.
Yeah.
Dude, love that because we get the scene before him when they fight. And he's
Yeah.
like, "You guys are pathetic. You're gonna choose a parrot that's like an idiot.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a lobster. You're just gonna get caught and get ate.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are pathetic."
Yeah.
And they go and they fight, and it's
Yeah.
it's a so pathetic fight too.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, but he's like, "I'm not getting turned into an animal.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna prove. I'm gonna show you guys."
Mm-hmm.
My next one is 2 parts, and it's it's when he's in the hot tub with the no feelings girl,
Oh yeah.
and she like acts like she's gonna die.
And he
She's
just
choking
sits
on the
there like-
olive.
Yes, so I thought she was obviously my first watch, so I don't know.
I know he was testing.
Thought she was actually
I
choking.
thought she was actually.
and
so I
he's just
said-
sitting there just watching her die.
No, and then
What
I
a
said,
G.
"Bro, just let her die like that." And then I said, "She's alive." What?
Yeah.
Dude, my emotions there. I was
Yeah.
so confused because I was like,
Yeah, she gets up and then is like, I think we might have something in common.
Like, I think we're meant to be together. I was
Yeah.
like, what? Dude, can we just talk about that relationship?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is tough, man. He kind of falls into that whole, well, if it's no one, it's her, and I'm gonna force myself to conform to her. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a sociopath with her, pretty
Yeah.
much. Have no feelings whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
That leads to tons of bro moments.
Seriously.
When they're being intimate, and he can't react.
Yeah.
and she's testing him, or when they fall asleep, and she wakes him up and
I
is like,
feel. Oh my gosh.
"Hey, I just want you to know I killed your brother,
Yeah, I killed your dog.
and I did it in the worst way possible."
Yeah, I kicked him until he I kicked him a ton and he made sounds like this.
And then the camera pans down and her leg is bloody. I
Yeah.
was like,
And this was the thing too. And the first time I watched it, I thought, oh, she's doing this to see like
a
to try to
test.
get a rise out of him, to test him. And then when the camera shows that her leg is bloody, I was like, oh,
Oh,
did
she actually
did she
did it.
actually do
And
this?
then she goes to say, "You are a deep sleeper."
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, he made a lot of noise. You weren't lying. You are a deep sleeper. And then eventually
when she
goes
mimics the
Dude, I
noises-
thought it was gonna be like outside.
No,
straight
in
up
the bathroom.
in the bathroom, like and like disembowels this dog almost, like just cuts it from stomach to chest.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's twofold. I mean, it's a dog. Obviously, we love dogs.
Yeah,
and it's his
and
brother.
it's his brother. Of
That's
all
It's like
things, too.
twofold.
Yeah. So now, like, he sees this and he's trying to put on this act of like,
the water
I don't
on.
care, and then he, like, acts like he's gonna turn the water on to brush his teeth, and starts to let out some crying. And right as it starts to happen, she walks in and is like,
I knew it.
I knew it. You're lying to me. And he's like, and he's like, no, the water splashed up and hit me in the face.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then she straight up just grabs him by the neck and she says, "We're going to the manager right now."
Yeah.
I love it because I mean we should have talked about it in favorite scenes if I'm talking about it now. But he kicks the crap out of
He
her
does.
and runs,
He
Yeah.
breaks away.
and it works.
Yeah.
He tranquilizes her. I love that too.
Yeah.
When like he gets the maid involved or the nurse involved. So good.
Yeah.
Tranks her, drags her, tranks the nurse to really
Yeah. Puts her in the transformation chamber.
Yeah.
And turns her into an animal that he won't ever tell anybody, and says, I forget exactly
None
what he
of our
says. He
business or
says that's none of our business or something.
What do you think
like
he turned
that.
her to?
I assume like a lowest of the low, like cockroach. Like
Nah, I feel like the highest of the high because she helped him.
No, he didn't change the
he
nurse.
didn't change the maid.
He didn't change the nurse.
No.
He changed the
Just
the heartless woman
Just the heartless woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the nurse straight up says like you have to shoot me just to sell
to make it look believable.
Yeah, or to show that I didn't help you.
Yeah.
Pretty much like to clear my
I thought he did it to her too, though. That's
No, I think she's
No,
the one that
she's
ends
the one that
up,
ends up dying.
Yeah, she's the one that gets
ends up
stabbed.
getting stabbed.
Like she's the informer. That's why she helps.
Yeah.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, good stuff. Dude,
I want to talk about the scene where they go to the mall, and it blew my
papers,
mind.
please.
Yes, that there's
Yeah.
cops wanting to see your documents that you are actually
That
married.
you're married. That your marriage certificate isn't expired.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. They straight up have that woman on her knees being like, where's your husband?
Well, then even
He's
like
on a trip in Bath. He's been gone for 2 months, and all this stuff.
well, even like when short-sighted girl came, and he was looking for her, she had to like play it quick.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I got the cream for your back. Like, be very specifically detailed.
Yeah, and they come up and like kiss.
They kiss,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, trying to make it seem like they really are a couple in front of the cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes. All right. I feel like he wanted to say, "I've seen enough. Thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah, I just am so saddened by the whole eye surgery thing. That's one of the biggest problems. At first,
Yeah.
honestly, okay, so I thought, as their relationship blooms, it's getting harder and harder to hide it. And they go to the loner leaders. I think it's her parents.
I think that's what sold it.
Yeah.
Well,
I
at
don't
the
think-
beginning, it
Well,
sells it.
Are we even going to talk about how the loners don't support any romantic relationship?
At
yeah,
all.
they're the
Yeah.
completely opposite of
Yeah,
the hotel.
'cause-
Like, they don't want nothing.
Yeah, that's a big brunt for me too. Is that the loners that are out in the woods do not support any romantic relationships whatsoever. And if they find out that any of the people in the loners are hooking up with one another, then they get punished. And it's their destiny to be alone for the rest of their lives, to live a loner lifestyle.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said sold it. Like, that, I feel like them making out sold it. Like, that gave them up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I don't know what.
I don't know what they're thinking.
Well,
They
Like-
were a little.
I mean, they go over the top. They go
they do.
overboard a little bit.
Yeah, they.
Can you have some respect, bro?
I'm still unsure of what their purpose for the whole city life is.
Because they're
They go there
loners.
to like get supplies.
I know,
and
but why
stuff.
do they go to the parents' house?
Because they're proving the loner leader has to prove to her parents that her job
Yeah,
is that she's going away and that she comes to the city for only a certain amount of time.
yeah.
So they're
Her parents
visiting.
don't know that she's a loner and believe that she has a husband and is working a successful job, when in reality, she is,
She's a loner.
just out in the woods,
oh.
being a loner, living doing whatever it is that she wants to do.
Part of
Interesting.
the
So
script.
she puts on an act in front of her parents that she is like in this really successful company with her husband whom she loves and all this stuff, and they spend time with one another.
But they never like are
Dude,
intimate
They're
at all.
they're never
They don't even sit near
Sit
each
near
other.
each other.
Yeah, and that's the thing too that I really liked that scene, because at first like they end up like they show you the scene whenever it's really awkward between the two and they're not a couple yet, and it's kind of like they're just kind of sitting there and they have to kind of act like, oh yeah, oh, like this is really sweet and nice. But then once they actually just start to have feelings for one another, like this
She,
is
like leans
this
on
is
him.
yeah, but this is the one time that they can actually
Not
like
hide it.
express
Show
their
how
feelings
they
for
feel,
one another
yeah.
and not hide it.
Mhm.
And the entire time, any context outside of the city, they have to hide their true feelings for one another. This is the one time they can let their guard down.
Yeah.
But again, they go overboard with it and just like start like fully on like just making
start
out with
making
one another.
I don't. I almost. I don't want to say I don't blame them, but it's like some. You listen to music like that, especially this more like acoustic kind of romantic music.
Classical
It can almost,
guitar.
it almost inspires like that intimacy. But you would think maybe in the privacy of your own home,
Yeah.
not like with,
in front of 3 other people.
yeah, maybe like a kiss or two,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
But not. They were going.
They were going to town.
They were going hot and heavy.
They were playing tonsil hockey.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's yeah. But and that just leads into the they kind of give themselves up, and the loner leader takes her to the city without their partners for reasons I don't know. I didn't know. I thought her punishment or the surgery that was going to happen was going to be like you can no longer have children. Like, we're going to take your cervix out, and this is great because we're loners.
Yeah.
You don't need it anyways.
That'd be wild.
That's what I thought at
That's
first.
kind of a wild thought.
And I thought to myself, like, that sucks, because you hear them talk about, like, we've got 4 kids, like, as they're faking it
Yeah.
or whatever. But you almost imagine them,
like wanting that.
right?
Yeah.
And to take that away, because she was, like, saying no. But then we realized that it's not that. It's getting, I think, like, LASIK surgery.
Yeah. And it's to repair her short-sightedness.
Repair.
Yeah. And even
I hate this.
she's like
She's like,
Hesitant.
no.
she's
No. Like,
yeah,
I
she
don't
doesn't
know.
want to do it because again, that's like their link. That's their one thing that they have in common with one another, that they can bond over, that they are short-sighted, and that while he has glasses, she doesn't. She lost them or
contacts, I
something like
think,
that, or yeah, probably has contacts or something. But they are both short-sighted. That is like their link. And so if she goes through with this surgery to like fix her short-sightedness, then they might not have anything in common with one another anymore, and their relationship might fall apart.
Yeah. And not only do they don't even fix her. They
Straight up blind her.
take away her sight.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes me pissed.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
It's
it pisses
so
me off.
frustrating,
yeah,
dude.
it's a huge bro moment.
Ugh.
It's huge.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, I remember watching this part for the first time, and whenever we get told like surgery's done, she's blind, I was just like, they blinded her,
Yeah,
dude?
that's what
Are
pisses
you
me off is
kidding
when
me? What? That is insane. Yeah, tough. What about whenever she finds out that she's been blinded and she ends up stabbing what she thinks is the leader, but is the maid, and like, dude,
the maid is so loyal.
Yeah, like you couldn't catch me doing that. Like she straight up like holding her in front of her to like take the stab for her, and I was like, dude, I would be
That's
fighting
dirty.
tooth and nail to be like, I'm not gonna be the one that dies here, dude. If anyone's gonna be dying, it's you. And for her to like act like it too, like she's like going like and like falling at the same time as her and like laying right next to her body to make it feel like it's actually her that she killed. And obviously she can't see now, so she can't confirm if whether it's her or not. She could just feel around and be like, okay, yeah, there's a body right here.
Yeah.
I got her,
Yeah, that's tough. I even have that one of my bro moments is when she like has her sunglasses on and he finally comes to see her and she's like, "You look lovely today. Did you get a haircut?" He's like,
Nope. No, I'm gonna get one tomorrow. And then
Goes,
he's
"Thank you for the
like,
rabbit."
I got this for you. And she's like, oh man, it looks so good. I've been really hungry. And he's like, it's a big flashlight.
She tried so hard.
Yeah. Then she eventually comes clean and is like, I'm blind.
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no point in
lying
lying to you. I'm blind now.
to you.
Yeah. Which is another bro moment too. Oh wait, I got my boomer moment.
Yeah.
Dude,
Flashlights
freaking
on.
flashlight on.
That's every day at work, bro. I tell so many people every day, "Oh, your flashlight's on. Your flashlight's
Yeah.
on."
Another bro moment for me is whenever they're doing touch, think, guess, win, or something like
Yeah.
that, or whatever it was. And they're like going through all these items that he brings to her to see if she can like figure out what it is. And like it starts with a plastic cup and a couple other things. And he gives her a tennis ball, and she goes, "A kiwi?" And he's like, he doesn't have the heart to tell her that she's wrong. So he's like, "Yeah, you got 10 out of 10 all over again, man. You're doing so great."
Mhm.
And it's like, this poor guy, like,
He
you know,
doesn't have the heart
he
to
doesn't
tell
have the
her.
heart to tell her that she's getting him wrong. So he's just letting her, like, you know, live in this little fantasy that she lives in. And
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't give it to her. That kind of feels like a
Yeah.
kiwi.
But then guess what? Another wholesome freaking moment. Whenever she is blind, he goes up to her and like he wants to communicate with her in a way that, you know, he can't around the other loners. And so their code obviously is gone now
Mhm.
because
Yeah, you
they can't
see.
signal
All
to one another and
visual.
they can't see. So he goes up to her and like describes his movements and is like, "I touch my left cheek. I put my hand behind my back. I put my arm out to the left and then my arm out to the right.
Yeah.
And I do this." And then
I
she
stomped
eventually,
3 times.
yeah, and she eventually is like, "Are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah, that.
Are you sure you're prepared to do that?" And he
Mhm.
goes, "I am." And like it's one of those things where you're like,
What are they saying?
what are they
did he say?
saying? But it's obviously meaningful, you know,
Yeah.
to the people. And then they, you know, make the trek to the city, and that's where we get the ending of the film, where eventually we get to find out that the thing that they talked about was, does David want to go through with making himself blind as well, so that way they can be together and have that common interest with one another, or does he get cold feet and leave her, you know, and eventually she gets put in the hotel again.
All right. I initially thought that maybe he was saying like, "I'm gonna take out the loner leader, and we're
Mm.
gonna make our escape."
Mm.
Because after that scene, he goes and donks her.
Yeah, and
leaves
she
her to
and
the
yeah, and
wolves.
she leaves her to the dogs.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
exactly what she said that was gonna happen to him.
Yeah,
Like
he puts her in the grave that he dug for himself.
I hope she gets. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
she gets eaten.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for bro moments for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, me as well.
Alrighty. Well, if that's it for the bro moments, let's move into facts with the bros.
Yeah, let me hit you with the budget. So actually, it took about £4 million to make this, but I converted it, so it's about $5.1 million to make this movie.
Okay.
Opening weekend, it made $190.2 thousand. Gross for U.S. and Canada made $9 million, and gross worldwide made $17.4 million.
Nice.
So it made its money.
Sweet.
Nice.
For sure, it
That's
made its
awesome.
money.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I had also seen that in the year that this was released, it did earn an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. But I don't know the picture that it lost out to, unfortunately.
What year was it?
The movie came out in 2015,
So
so it
2016
probably took
Oscars.
place in the 2016 Oscars. So while you're looking that up, I have another fact here, actually, because when I was watching the film and we open up with that shot of that woman driving, it's a beautiful landscape.
Yes.
And I immediately was like, man, this looks like it's in Ireland. Like, and especially like when they're walking and those buses are coming around and
Mhm.
you just see the whole, just the beauty of everything. I was like, this looks like Ireland. I've got to be right in assuming that it is. And the film actually was mainly produced and filmed in and around the Park Nasilla Hotel in Sneem, County Kerry in Ireland. So I would be correct in assuming.
There you go.
But yeah. Another one here that I thought was actually pretty interesting as well, and I want to get your guys' take on it as well, was that there is a lot of well, I guess there's a lot of, but there's also not of blood in the movie, and it tends to
Nosebleed.
symbolize a couple of things, and it's thought of to be a common motif throughout the film, always accompanying a sacrifice that one takes for marriage. So essentially it starts off with a character inflicting nosebleeds on himself, right? And that escalates then to a woman who ends up trying to attempt suicide after being rejected by David. and then finally reaches the horrific death of David's own brother when he tries to force himself to marry a sociopath. And the ending leaves it open whether or not David will sacrifice again in the name of marriage as he points a knife to his own eye. You know, to signify, is he willing to make the sacrifice to make this marriage work, or is he going to escape it and not go through with it, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. Any other facts here?
I had saw that Elizabeth Olsen was approached to play the loner leader, which I think she could have done a great job.
Yeah, I think she could have
she
too.
could have done good. So I found it, and it kind of threw me off. They put this movie in the 2017 Oscars,
Oh, interesting.
which is kind of weird.
You know, I noticed on HBO Max that it said that its release date was in 2016, but everywhere else I looked, it was 2015.
Yeah,
IMDb
at least
says
IMDb
2015.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was like a
Maybe
Late
it's
2015.
yeah, like not maybe it was released 2015, but not
not in America.
not in our market. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
maybe.
but it lost to Manchester by the Sea.
Another
Another episode we just
Yeah.
did.
That's
And then
crazy.
The nominees were Hell or High Water, La La Land, The Lobster, and 20th Century Women.
Interesting.
Wow.
Manchester by the Sea won.
Wow.
Well, this is for
The 2017
2017 Oscars.
as what category though?
Best
Original
original.
Screenplay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just gonna play. Okay. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Any other facts here?
Colin Farrell gained 40 pounds.
Dude, he's
For
That's
this
crazy. You
role.
can tell
He
too.
can-
He's got the little like shelf belly.
He does.
It's great. I when you see him with it, I'm like, it fits his character. You know, just kind of having like that like almost like dad bod
Mhm.
without having any children.
Yeah,
know?
it is great.
Yeah.
That's
Anything
it for me.
else?
No.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, if that's it for the facts, let's move into what didn't work. For me personally, I have just this one thing. And although I am a fan of like the deadpan humor and the dry humor aspect of the film, sometimes that feeling or that version of humor can make the film feel really slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that in this movie a little bit. In just certain aspects where, you know, I was kind of like, you know, waiting for the joke to happen, and it felt like, man, this is taking a while, you know, or something like that. So it kind of made me feel the length of the film in a certain way. So that's kind of really the only thing for me.
Mm. The one thing I wanted to bring up was that I don't know. You guys might not agree, but there was some times where I just think it was maybe a little too vulgar for no reason. Like there's a lot of the times where they're very explicit with what they say, and then even like the lady's like, "Oh yeah, I had a dream where we were doing this," and then the,
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
the intimate act happens, and I just it kind of it was jarring to me in a way that took me out of the movie a little bit, and I don't know. I felt like it wasn't needed.
Okay.
And it was like, it was absurd to be absurd. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't really feel like it had much value other than like, whoa, like this is our universe. You
or
know?
to just like try and be funny.
Yeah. It I don't know. It didn't really. I just didn't see as much value in it. And if anything, I was just like, I'd much rather prefer without it. Maybe maybe it could be more tame. You know, it doesn't have to be like they describe what's happening.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I kind of cringed a little bit at that.
Okay. Interesting.
Not necessarily anything bad with the movie. It's just something that I wanted and I brought it up, is I just wanted more information about the hotel and like what it takes to get there, like in your day-to-day life. Like, what if I don't want a relationship until I'm like 20-something years old, you know? Like,
You get taken out.
just things like that. That's something that I just wish I had more. I wish I had more background and more lore.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for what doesn't work?
No, that's it.
Okay. Then let's move into what did work.
The world. I love this world.
Yeah.
I would hate to be in it, but I kind of would love to like overlook it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think that the writing here is done really well, and I I am a fan of the deadpan and dark humor that's used, and I think it really works in the setting that we get presented with. I also love seeing like just random animals and then making the connection like that. Oh, these were once people.
Yeah,
and
you
like,
see a camel in the background.
Yeah, like it's little things like that these ideas get presented to you throughout the film, and then you see them happen, and you're like, oh man, wait, that was actually a person one time.
Yeah.
Or like watching the intro to the film, knowing the premise of the movie, you go into it recognizing like, oh, this woman is probably killing a former lover.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not just she's just going up and killing a donkey just out of nowhere, right? It's little things like that, as well as just the movie being incredibly original and like being able to stand out amongst the rest as like an individual piece of cinema that has its own like feel and title and everything is I think outstanding in its own right. So
Yeah, I really enjoyed the narration.
Mm-hmm.
I did too.
Narration was nice.
I don't know, it was great.
Yeah.
It almost felt book style.
Yeah, and it's like third person.
Yeah.
Where, you know, and at first you're wondering who it's coming from. And then when you come to find out that it's his love interest who is narrating the story, it's nice. And I have to agree too, where, you know, it's done throughout the aspect of like you're reading a book about him.
Yeah.
It's like he played golf this morning, and whenever he did, he thought this.
Yeah. It's like a book usually is the format is like, you know, what the characters say and then how the character is thinking about it, or, you know, their inner thoughts.
Yeah.
And it allows you to explore their mind more,
Mhm.
you know, get deeper into who they are as a character. And I think it works here, especially in like a very sterile environment like this. It's another way to know who David is.
I just had a thought. What if the narration is done this way because she is telling a story about him, meaning he left? What if she is recounting this story?
I love you, bro. I love you, bro. You're just
What if
dapping me up for that because
what if she is recounting this story and telling it to
Interesting.
somebody in that way, storybook fashion, because he never came back?
that would just
Yeah.
solidify my thinking.
That would only make sense as to why she refers to him as like in the past tense.
Yeah, and why is it her?
Right.
That's a good
exactly.
question. Yeah, I never even thought about why it's her. Maybe she's telling the
Bro.
story to the kids.
Maybe.
This is why your
Yeah.
daddy not here. This is why your daddy. This is why your.
This is why we're blind.
Yeah.
No, I don't
This is why your mama dead.
It's genetic.
It's genetic.
Dude, imagine as the babies come out.
Oh man, that would
That's-
be tough.
Good luck trying to find a mate.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. Never mind.
Yeah.
Interesting thought. Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. It just
Yeah.
came to me as you were
That
talking.
you're
about
smart, bro.
it. Anything else for what does work here?
No.
I
mean, cinematography's freaking great.
Yep.
I think this movie's rewatchable, like quite rewatchable.
Yeah,
Like, I liked
has,
it and I enjoyed it.
mhm.
And
It
I-
has that aspect to it, to where you can go in having watched it once and then pick up on little things afterwards and be like, "Oh, I never noticed this time." Or,
Well, I think this is a movie that too is such a big conversation starter. You guys like attacked me about me wanting to chase some people. Like you can just talk about so many little things in this.
It's an interesting question. What animal would you be? I feel like that's
Like that?
universal.
Yeah. But
Everyone's
you
got
can-
different answers.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can, but and then that would lead you to another rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Like this movie can lead you to 1,000 rabbit holes. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
that's something that I like about it because if someone who has watched it, you can immediately just talk to them, and
Mhm.
then boom.
Yeah. I have to say too, I really like the score
Mm.
here, and like in certain aspects, it's really eerie, and like it's got
It is.
it's got a lot of like discordance,
Like horror
and
almost.
like horror aspects to it, but then like there's other aspects where it feels like very like classical feely and like upper class almost. And I don't know, I really just enjoyed the way that the score played out throughout the film and how it serves the film as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I think the acting is great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really think Colin Farrell does a good job as per usual.
Mm-hmm.
He always turns in a good performance. And I also really enjoyed the performances from the loner leader, played by Leah
Seydoux.
Seydoux, I think is how you
it's-
say her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a great job.
Rachel Weisz.
Yes, she does awesome too.
Love her.
Everyone in this movie just does a really fun job. I even love like John C. Reilly
Yeah.
playing his character
Yeah.
and like being like, those people are out there on the both, like like with his lisp. You know, I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
It just feels very intentional.
yeah,
I know I've said that for a couple of movies, but this one in particular feels like he really took his time to build this universe out.
yeah.
Bruh, this is the Penguin?
Yes.
Colin Farrell, man.
Mm-hmm.
The Penguin. New Batman.
Yep.
He's in Banshees of Inisherin. In Bruges.
I don't think I've ever seen Banshees.
You gotta watch.
You
that.
gotta watch. It's just as beautiful.
You used to be nice.
Are we howling? I love that movie.
I
man.
love Banshees. It's great.
I didn't know we were howling.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for What Does Work?
No.
Who wins the movie then?
Ooh.
I think it's Colin for
Colin.
me.
Yeah, me as well. Colin Farrell.
All right. Any themes for this film?
It ain't easy being alone.
Mm.
You need your companion.
Yeah. I thought that the director Yorgos Lanthimos probably went into this thinking that, like, you know, there's obviously, like, in the society that we live in now, it's very frowned upon to be like just by yourself and like single, and it's kind of expected of you to like have a partner. So I think he kind of wrote this maybe in like a satire way, where, you know, if you lived in this world, it's important that you do have a partner, because if you don't, then you turn into an animal or you get punished in some form. So I guess maybe the theme is just kind of hitting on like those pressures of society to like find a partner, and like in this universe obviously dealing with the consequences of whether or not you conform.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it really is highlighted from the whole like black and white nature of the hotel versus the loners.
mm-hmm.
It's so frustrating to see how constricted and very, you know, unifying the hotel is, where you almost lose yourself,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't have any of your own self pleasures. You can't do anything like that. You're just stripped of that. And then now you're completely free to do all that, but you cannot have a partner at all.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to see those two sides and how they can't mold together to create something new.
Yeah.
But they're like, as soon as you're in that group, you have to. You are conformed to be that,
Yep.
even if that's not necessarily who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I think that's a big part of the movie.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
Alrighty. What are we rating this movie? I'll start first. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
A 9. Okay.
I gave it a 7.5.
7.5. Okay, I'm going straight in the middle. 8.
Okay.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this one. So
Yeah, it was a good movie.
with that being said, it's the end of the episode. So
Yeah.
if you guys
Good
stuck
night.
all the way around, we're out. Bye.
Imagine it's like cut like that.
What's
the next movie, man?
Yeah, so as per usual, we'll plug our stuff at the end here. If you're listening all the way to the end, we appreciate you. Leave us a like on the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, comment, hit the bell, all that good stuff. If you are listening on the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, Google, things of that nature, leave us a rate and review. Let us know what you're thinking. And if you don't want to do any of that on a public platform, hit the episode descriptions and hit us up on our social media platforms, Letterboxd. Our email address is there as well. All these methods of contact are there for you guys to let us know what you're thinking. And also, to let us know things that we could be doing better, things that you like that we're doing, things that we should be doing more of, movie recommendations, things like that. We've been doing this podcast for, close
Almost
to
3 years.
almost 3 years now. And it's getting to a point where we're kind of like, man, what movie do we do now? So if you guys have films that you want us to watch and review, hit us with a movie recommendation in the comments, or, email us and let us know, hey, you guys should do this movie, or send us a DM on Instagram and let us know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those platforms, again, are for you guys to reach out to us. And not only that, get in contact with other film lovers and just, gush about your film love as well. So with that being said, we will go ahead and introduce the next pick for next week, which is going to be Abe's pick.
Yeah, I was stuck at what I was gonna pick, and I've been thinking I want to do a fun pick, something chill, something that we all can relate to.
Cinematic masterpiece
A masterpiece. This is a masterpiece.
in
Yeah.
American cinema.
In America, yeah, there you go. And with that being said, I'm choosing the 2001 film, Shrek.
Yo, hey now, you're a rock star.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest
I
in
know.
peace, the lead scene. When,
Yeah, like I passed, man.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, and
But,
you might be thinking, wow, what are they gonna talk about? But it's genuinely like a really interesting.
Shrek is a very interesting story.
It is, and it's got really good, a good like criticism on fairy tales. A good like, I think it's
And also
relevant.
beauty being in the eye of the beholder.
yeah.
Like noticing things about somebody that's more than just their outward appearance, but
Mhm.
more about
Mhm.
them as an inward person.
Mm-hmm.
Falling
Look
in
at
love
you.
with somebody in that aspect.
I'm telling you, it's
Shrek is a bigger story than just an angry ogre.
Yes.
and
He
that's
is.
why it withstands the test of time.
Yep.
And
At least I hope. I haven't watched it in a while.
it's been like a good 6 or 7
Yeah.
years since I've seen this.
Yeah, I remember watching this movie at the Madeira Drive-In the
Oh
first time.
wow,
ever.
really?
Dang.
Like I remember going and seeing it at the Madeira.
The first
Drive-In.
time I watched this movie, we rented it from Blockbuster.
Oh wow.
Wow, I'll have to ask.
This movie's been in my life for a long time.
I'll have to ask my family.
I had the
If they-
VHS.
Oh,
Dang.
was it like green? A green plastic? Or
No,
was
it
just
was
black?
it was white. The white like
The white cover.
like cushy plastic almost. It was like
Oh.
soft plastic, and it had like the iconic like all them sitting on the grass hill, like looking at the cover. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm excited because it's a movie I haven't watched in so long, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to return.
And I'm also
I'm funny. I just want to laugh.
yeah
I
true.
think it's so funny.
I think it's also important to say too that like Shrek was a one of a kind thing when it came out. Like I can't think of any other animated film that poked fun or made reference to them being a part of a fairy tale world.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
Prince Charming.
Exactly.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Lord
excited.
Farquaad. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
The gingerbread man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
we might even talk about like 2 and 3 if you wanted to.
Yeah. Two
Yeah,
is funny.
I've never seen 3.
2 is the best one.
3
2 is one of the best ones. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, they got so many. Shrek Forever After.
Dude, I
Holy-
remember.
I want to hear
watching.
which one has the kid where he goes do the roar
That's the second one.
Is that the
No,
second one?
Third one. Third one.
and he's
I
like
think so.
no
Do
I'm
the
not going
roar.
to do it and he just keeps going do the roar.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I'm picking. I'm picking Shrek.
All right.
Is this streaming anywhere by chance?
I think it's streaming on
It's streaming
Peacock?
on Peacock.
Peacock.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I got Peacock.
I think I do too.
I think I'm bumming off you. Oh no, maybe I have the free version.
No,
with
you're not
ads.
bumming off of me because if you're bumming off of me, you're bumming off Sierra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a whole train then.
I love that. All the homies eat.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, play Paramount Plus, bro.
All right. So tune in next week to hear what we have to say about the 2001 film Shrek. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night.